All right, we are back. Colossians 2:17 here. Let me put the key if you need to pause that and look at that. But last time we were talking about how we live in such a way as to almost subvert people's expectations of a religious person or of a person who follows Christ. That the way we live is not a matter of rituals and legalism, but in genuine relationship. And that's really what he carries on in verse 17 here. When, let's start in verse 16. It says, "Therefore let no one pass judgment on you in questions of food and drink, or with regard to a festival or a new moon or a Sabbath. These are a shadow of the things to come, but the substance belongs to Christ." Those things like the old law regulations, the certain kinds of foods you could eat and the certain foods you couldn't eat, the drinks, these days maybe you would talk about alcohol. Can you drink alcohol or not drink alcohol? Those are questions that, they come up and they have real effect in life. But if we are really living with Christ, we're living for Christ. If our relationship, our conduct, our thinking, our motives, our pursuit, everything is centered around Christ and is about Christ, those things take care of themselves. The law, the regulations, the things like that, these were all a shadow. These were a shadow of the things to come. They're foreshadowings. They're the idea of pointing to a larger, better principle, a more lasting principle, an eternal principle, a reality where it says the substance belongs to Christ. Is there's a difference between, like, if you try to grab something of substance versus something that really doesn't have substance per se, such as like a vapor or smoke. You try to grab onto that, as Ecclesiastes says, it's vanity. You're going to drive yourself insane trying to do that. But substance, you can grab onto that. So the substance belongs to Christ. He is the reality. He is the change of our character. And so I look at that and go, the substance belongs to Christ. So I'd underline that in orange because that's a truth. But the emphasis I'd put on, that I like to color on the letters themselves, is the emphasis of who Christ is. He is the substance of the change in us, the salvation, the working out in us of the various things that go on in our life. We tend to think all the how much you go to church, how much you read your Bible, how much you pray, those are the reality of that proves something. But those are elements, those are parts of it. But if that's what your faith is based on, is how much you pray or how much you read your Bible, how much you go to church, how much you give, that's the substance of your faith. It's really not substance. It's a vapor. It's about the relationship with God. Just like any relationship, if you're in a marriage and you count the substance of the marriage as how many times you go on dates, how many flowers you buy, how many notes you write, and those are things that aren't bad. They're good. But if that's what you count to where it's like, oh, I have a real relationship, I go on dates, I buy flowers, but there's no heart. That's where in Isaiah he goes, oh, these people, their hearts are far from me. They come near me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. That's the idea of that, where it's, I think that's Isaiah 29, I don't know, 13-ish. Hearts far away, hearts far. The idea of it being that you can do all the things that you're supposed to do outwardly, but if it's not inward, there is no real substance in it. There's no real relationship. It's the love. It's I could have the speech or the tongue of men and angels, but if I have not love, I'm nothing. And that's 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 3, something like that. And so that's where the substance is not the things we do necessarily. The things we do come out of the actual substance of the relationship, the real character, the real connection with Christ, that we actually care about him and he's working in us. That's the reality that causes us to do good, that causes us to give, that stirs us to pray, that changes our affections from ourselves to others, that points our interest from what we get to what we can give. And that's all Christ, that he is the substance. He is the reality that changes changes us from the inside out, rather than just pretending on the outside and having something supposedly on the inside. So that's a short, real quick look at verse 17, and we'll pick it up in verse 18 next time. God bless you guys.